Hi, this is Niti, and this is our presentation on cyber physical attacks. So, the first thing I'll be talking about is how do they work? Cyber physical attacks, they work essentially by going from the digital world into the real one. With this, there are three main steps involved. As you can see, these are the three steps in order. So, the first one, we have infiltration. This is when hackers gain access to a system's network. They often do this by using phishing, emails, malware, or exploiting weak security in devices like certain sensors or industrial controls. Next, we have manipulation. After infiltration, when attackers are inside, they take over or alter the system's control software. For examples, with systems that manage factories or power plants, they may fake sensor data to trick operators or send commands that make the machines behave abnormally. And when doing all of this, all of their actions are hidden. Finally, we have the third step, which is physical impacts. This is when the attack causes real-world effects. So this can include things such as shutting down power grids, damaging equipment, or disrupting transportation. Overall, this just shows how cyber physical attacks, they don't just affect computers, but also the real world, since digital commands directly control physical systems. Thank you.
My name is Conan, and I am going to be talking about the real life examples aspect of our public service announcement. There are many types of cyber physical attacks. Some common ones that happen in real life include eavesdropping attacks, which target sensitive or personal information about an individual or about a company. Another one is zero-day vulnerability, which is where hackers will try to exploit any potential bugs in a website on its first day of launch, just because since it hasn't been available to the public, there might be things that are wrong with it. Another one is denial of service, which is where hackers will target smaller sections or like smaller branches of a server and disconnect them from the main server, and so a bunch of small things getting disconnected leads to one big problem. Um, these attacks have very many real world consequences and can cause damage to communities and their infrastructure. In 2015, a Ukrainian power grid company was targeted by eavesdropping malware. It was targeted by Russian hackers. This malware gained sensitive information about the company's systems, and the hackers managed to shut down their servers for 6 hours. The homes and businesses that were connected to the power grid and relied on the company were left without electricity for that duration of time. Another example is in 2009, Google was launching something, and they were launching Microsoft Explorer, and a group of hackers exploited a zero-day vulnerability bug within Microsoft Explorer and made information that was not supposed to be available to Chinese citizens available, um, out of regulations with the Chinese Communist Party's regulations with censorship. And since Google is an American company, this strained Chinese and US relations for many years. This cyber physical attack had very, very big, like, international consequences. And so, yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Ayush and I'll be talking about the impacts of cyber physical attacks. Cyber physical attacks can cause serious problems not just in computers but also in the real world. These attacks happen when hackers target systems that connect digital technology with physical processes like power plants, hospitals, or transportation networks. One major impact is the disruption of infrastructure. For example, attackers could shut down a city's power grid, damage water systems, or disable traffic signals. These affects millions of people at once and can take time and resources to fix. Another serious impact is safety risks. In hospitals, attackers could control medical devices, medical systems, and data. which not only attacks patients' privacy but could put patients' lives at risk, potentially causing them harm or even death. This could also disrupt factories, also putting the workers' lives at risk. Another impact is that it causes disruptions in daily life. For example, traffic signals may fail, public transportation could stop working, causing traffic jams, accidents, injuries, and death. Um, People could also lose internet and communication access, which is a major disruption in people's daily lives. Lastly, there are economic consequences. Businesses may lose money from system repairs, data recovery, or downtime. It may impact business operations and cause reputational loss and trust. In conclusion, this shows how cyber-physical attacks can create real-world damage.
For my portion, I will be doing a short history on the beginning of cyber attacks as well as what to do during a cyber attack. Cyber attacks began in the 70s. A man named Bob Thomas created a computer program called Creeper that could move across what was called ARPANET, a program created by the Department of Defense a few years before the internet went live. Creeper would leave a breadcrumb trail wherever it went. In response, the man who invented the email, Ray Tomlinson, created a program called Reaper, which would find and delete anywhere the Creeper virus was detected. This was the earliest version of anti-software or antivirus software. The first ever commercial antivirus software went live in 1987. This was the same year that John McAfee founded the company McAfee that we all know and released the well-known VirusScan computer software. It wasn't until the 90s that the public internet finally went live and the software went mainstream. So what can we do during cyber physical attacks? Over the years, cyber attacks have evolved to include physical consequences to them. This is when the physical components of a computer or equipment are taken over to cause real-world consequences. In 2008, a Polish teenager hacked into a tram system using a transmitter he made at home out of a TV remote. This allowed him to switch the rails the trains were traveling upon, causing 4 trams to collide, which caused dozens of injuries. So, what can we do during a cyber physical attack? Well, the mostly depends on when and where it is occurring. In a hospital, for example, if a cyber physical attack occurs, the IT department may ask staff to power down or unplug non-essential equipment. If you are home and a cyber physical attack occurs, it is recommended to power down and unplug any non-essential equipment. Avoid using electronics until the all clear is given. There are dozens of ways that cyber physical attacks can occur. It truly depends on the situation for what can be done to prevent or limit an attack.